seem to be like, oh, do you know what? Well, they'll come good. Burnley come good. But when you say they've only scored 16 goals this season. Do you know what I mean? They've conceded 27 again, which ain't that many, but 16 goals scored. I mean, what is that? That's what the lowest in the whole league. Well, actually, no, Norwich, I think, are the lowest. But that's not good enough for
One thing I can't understand with them also, right? Their average spend per season is under £20 million. Let me say that again. Their average spend per season is under £20 million. They've been back in top flight in the Premier League for the last 6 years, right? Let's just say, on average, I think it's more, but for round numbers, you get £100 million per Premier. I think it's around about 140, but let's say 100, right? That's £600 million. Right? They've spent round about 200 million, right? Maybe less than that. What's happening to the money? His net spend, Sean Dyche's, is £50 million. He's making money for the club. That's fantastic. But if you want to keep the club in the Premier League, you've got to spend, haven't you? The most amount of money they've ever spent on one player was 15 million for Wood.
And even, I mean, he's worked miracles. You'd have to say he's absolutely worked miracles. And I guess for any kind of manager, you get to a point where you can't take a club any further. I mean, you're talking about when they had that great season, what was it, 2017-18, when they finished 7th. That's when his stock was
7th. Should he have left then?
I don't know if he should have left them, but that's where his stock was like high as it's ever going to be. 7th for Burnley, and you spoke about the net spend, and obviously from there it's got obviously gradually a bit worse. I think the following season was 15th, then it was 10th, mid-table, then obviously last season 17th, and this season rock bottom of the table. I think there's only so much Sean Dyche can do working these miracles with that budget that you talk about, bringing in players in, but they brought the new owners in. I fully expected them to put their hand in their pocket, but maybe the money's not there. But I guess if you're a Burnley fan, maybe the concern would be how long does Sean Dyche stay there for? But then there might be Burnley fans.
What, as in before he sacked him, before he says I've had enough? Yeah.
But then maybe, I mean, I can't see it, but maybe you might get a Burnley fan that have said, do you know what, we need a change of direction here now as well, because maybe it's got a bit stale. Because as I said, when they finished 7th, 2017-18, you go, what an achievement that is. Burnley, they were in Europe.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? But then he played
a second-rate team. Was it Fenerbahce they went out to? I think it was. Was it Fenerbahce?
I think so, yeah. Okay. But it wasn't great. But you just think now for himself, and maybe even some Burnley fans, like, I wouldn't expect it, but maybe they've been like, you know what, enough's enough now, 10 years.
But what are Burnley? Right? And
with that net spend, it has to there, and this is why it makes this even more impressive what he's done. Surely with that investment that you just spoke about, their aim every single season has got to be just stay in the Premier League.
That's it. That's all it is. Before the first ball is kicked, it's can we stay up?
Stay up. And then he obviously he works the miracle by finishing 7th, and then maybe you go, maybe we can, but then the investment's not there, so you then can't kick on to the next level. But I think for Sean Dyche and Burnley, it's got to be about staying in the league now, staying in the league.
There are some clubs, like for argument's sake Norwich, right, where their fans are like, we don't mind if we go back down, we're not a big fish, you know, we're in the Premier League, we have a great season in the Premier League, then we go down, then sometimes we come. There are other sets of fans, like Newcastle United, who, of course, not only do they demand to be in the Premier League, but they demand so much from their side. What do you think Burnley fans demand from their club?
First of all, their record signing is Ben Gibson. 15 million.
Oh, okay.
Which is...
And Wood as well was 15, I think.
Wood was just under 14.
Oh, okay.
But Ben Gibson is your record signing. Like that. He's at Norwich now. And Norwich sit currently in the bottom as well, near the bottom as well.
Yeah.
I just think for Burnley fans moving forward, this season is down where they are now. The expectation now has got to be stay in the division because they're sitting rock bottom of the table.
Sad, isn't it?
But it is sad.
But Burnley one of those sides, not like Newcastle. If Newcastle went down, I'd expect them to come straight back up.
Norwich the same.
Yeah.
Burnley, I'm not sure if they'd come straight back up.
They could drop like a stone.
I think they'd lose a couple of their best players as well. But they've also got players in their squad that if they did go down, I think would do well in the Championship and can get them back out of there. But you think about the players that they'd lose, you'd expect them to lose Tarkowski because there's talk of him. Well, he's on a free at the end of the season, so he'd be gone. Looks like Me would go. I can't say Maxwell Corner being there next season. Westwood, he's done well there, so he might go.
Yeah.
Dwight McNeil, he's like their shining light. He's like the one they pin all their hopes on. He won't be there because he's got great quality in that left foot, so he won't be there either. So you start thinking, well, will they come straight back up?
Why don't you think they're investing the money? Some fans might say because we've seen what happens to other clubs where they put the owners put too much money into the club, don't get back, drop like a stone, and then all of a sudden the club's in danger of going under. I don't think that's going to happen with Burnley. But a club that are spending on average £20 million per window and they're getting on average £130 million from the Premier League, probably more with that, with football rights from Asia, etc. Why aren't the owners investing more money into this club?
I don't know how much that the owners are worth. I mean, have they got it to put it in?
Yeah, but the money's coming in from the Premier League.
I get that, but you just don't know if they've got the money to go and say, here, listen, here's Sean Dyche, here's, I don't know, 100 million. I don't think they're going to do that. Or even here's 50. Because I said with a net spend there, it just doesn't look like they have it, which is why, again, it all comes back to Sean Dyche. Could another manager get out of this squad what he's been getting out of them? I don't think so.
Everton, we talked about Everton top of the show looking for another manager. And we talked about him with Everton in 2017 when they finished 7th.
I'm surprised he's not been linked this time around. It's like there's not been one whisper of
No, there hasn't. He's good enough to be at Goodison?
I think he'd do a good job there, yeah. I mean, we don't know that.
Is he ready for a bigger club than Burnley now?
He's been there for 10 years. Like they're sitting rock bottom of the table. As I said, it was a few years back, 5 years ago, since they finished 7th. 4 years ago since they finished 7th. They're not going to get near that again. Certainly not anytime soon because of the investment in the clubs above them.
Are they down Burnley now? The bottom three at Newcastle.
No.
We expect them to get out of it.
Again,
Watford and Burnley.
Because it's Burnley and it's Sean Dyche, you think he'll find something from somewhere.
Do you think so? Why has he not pushed it? Personally, from his perspective, I mean, he's obviously got ambition as a manager, and he wants to go on to manage a bigger club. Why has he not made noises about moving to a bigger club? Do you think? It's strange, isn't it? He's been there, 10 years, you say?
10 years he's been there. I don't know why he's not pushed
There's
himself
only so much you can do at Burnley, isn't there?
Yeah.
Even keep, 7th was, above and beyond what anyone could have expected. I think even keeping Burnley in the Premier League is a huge pat on the back.
Especially with the investment.
Yeah. So why is he not trying to move on, do you think?
I don't know. Maybe that's just him as a character. Maybe he doesn't want to do that out of respect for Burnley. Maybe there's a little bit of that going on. Obviously, he runs, I guess, most things at that football club, so he's in control of everything. So I get it. It's a risk then to go up. And I mean, if they go down, then that might be taken out of his hands. He might go, you know what, enough's enough. But if they stay up again, while he's in control of everything, he knows the club like the back of his hand. He loves the football club. The supporters love him. It's a risk for him to go elsewhere. And do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, he goes to Everton, for instance, doesn't go well for a year. He's out the door.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
We're opening up the phone lines. Of course, we're going to hear from Burnley fans and football fans. The majority of Burnley fans will will want to keep him happy with Sean Dyche or not?
But listen up, I think they will. Majority of them will. But I think you might get one or two. And I think Sean Dyche himself, where it's 10 years, how much farther can he take them? Unless there's a real backing. I don't think so. And there might be some Burnley fans out there that will say, you know what, he did a fantastic job for us. We thank him for everything that he's done. But it's now time for a little bit of a change. Maybe style of football or something. Do you know what I mean? Just a little bit of variety. So maybe you might get, I can't see it from Burnley fans, but you might get one or two.